Blog Talk Radio.
Bienvenidos a WEXP 88.3, donde lo hacemos mejor. Soy Evelyn But Not y este es mi programa Entre Mujeres.
Happy day. This is Evelyn But Not, and you are listening to your show Entre Mujeres. Today we're going to talk about boundary issues. For those of us who aren't familiar with what this term exactly means, boundary problems are when we either have too much closeness in a relationship or we are too distant. And so today we're going to talk about how to set healthy boundaries in relationships. We are going to a quick music segment and stay with us because the topic is going to be interesting. This is Evelyn But Not, and I'll see you in a few seconds.
Yeah, Charlie,
crazy. They was like,
Charlie, yeah, flip,
you don't sell drugs.
flip,
So it's like a course,
flip,
course like this.
yeah, make it, flip, let it rip. Y'all boys counterfeit. I'm so super sick. Hey, what's up? Tell me how you been. I've been in the trap. I've been making hits. Make it flip, make it flip, make it flip. Let it rip. Y'all boys counterfeit. I'm so super sick. I've been in the trap. I've been making hits, yo. I just want the peso. I just need a payload. In the trap like Jesus. Like my name was Pedro. I got cocaine. I ain't talking white stuff. I got hella dope. I ain't talking about drugs. Call me plug. What you want? Follow me, cause got it for the low. I can get you high. You ain't gotta smoke. Yeah, you laughing now, but I'm not a joke. Make it flip, let it rip. Y'all boys counterfeit. Also super shit. Hey, what's up? Tell me how you been. I've been in the trap. I've been making hits. Yeah, make it flip, make it flip, make it flip. I got make it. Trapping niggas. Yeah, finna get it jumping, trampoline. Charlie ain't the hardest, what you mean? Hey, yeah, that boy handsome, swagger mean, nigga, play. I been the man, don't understand. Sit in the sand, you moving slow, steady advance. I need a band, I want a band, I make it flip, let it rip. Y'all boys kinda fit, I'm so super sick. Hey, what's up? Tell me how you been. I've been in the trap, I've been making hits. Make it flip, yeah, make it flip, yeah, make it flip, make it flip, yeah. Tell me how you been, yeah. Tell me how you been. I've been in the trap, I've been making hits.
Acrobatic
Flip,
real acrobatic
flip,
gymnast.
flip, Charlie, fuck it, flip,
With Trey
yeah,
Songz.
yeah,
That's up with us.
yeah.
Evelyn But Not, and we are discussing setting healthy boundaries in relationships. Relationships are difficult in the best of circumstances, and the reason for that being that you have two individuals, two different perspectives, two different maybe upbringing, different values. And so I think that we would all agree when we say that making a relationship work, especially nowadays, takes skill, takes ability, but most importantly, it takes effort. If there is one thing that you will take from today that I assure you is going to help you in your day-to-day life with friendships, with romantic relationships, is going to be the ability to set healthy boundaries in a relationship. Interestingly enough, this is something that is not spoken about often. I remember in school getting topics from sex education, from the DARE program to talk about drugs. But I don't remember growing up and getting any useful advice in relationships. In fact, Most of the information on relationships that I got was from other peers, and it was generally not very helpful or very healthy. And maybe if adults try to tell us about any relationship advice, well, we felt like we knew everything and we wouldn't listen. And that's why it's important for me to talk to you about boundary issues in relationships and how to set healthy boundaries. This helps us to understand and identify sometimes where the conflicts in our relationships are coming from, because boundaries are very invisible. They are emotional boundaries, so you can't see them. But if you are having a boundary issue in your relationship, or if your emotional boundaries in your relationship are unhealthy, you are going to notice, because there is going to be conflict in the relationship and you might not be able to identify the source of the conflict. Well, it might just be that someone in the relationship is having difficulty setting limits that are healthy. During our introduction, I told you that boundary problems are described in two forms. Individuals who have too much closeness in a relationship, they have difficulty saying no in the relationship, and individuals who create too much distance in the relationship and they have difficulty saying yes in relationships. So we will talk about ways to set healthy boundaries, and I will discuss especially examples of how to set healthy boundaries. The concept of boundaries, we're going to explore the concept of boundaries, especially if they are creating issues in your relationships. And in general, boundary problems translate into, like I said, people who are very close or who are very distant from each other. Some of us in relationships, in romantic relationships, we can't say no. And so we end up with unhealthy relationships. And some of us have difficult time saying yes. And so we can't create closeness in a healthy relationship. When we have difficulty saying no, it typically represents an ill-fated attempt to be loved, at love. And it ultimately results in isolation, or it results in the person being exploited because we try too hard to please others, and in the process we end up losing ourselves. And there's usually, with individuals who have difficulty saying no, there's often that fear factor, because we are afraid that if we say no in a relationship, and obviously saying no is setting a limit, the other person is going to get upset. The other person is maybe going to abandon us. The other person, and extreme examples where there's abuse in the relationship, the person becomes emotionally abusive or physically abusive. And some of our fears for saying no in relationships might be realistic, based on experiences, based on the current relationship, but at the same time, our fear of saying no may also be overgeneralized distrust, because we have had bad relationships in the past. Learning to say no in a relationship is very important, because it helps us to differentiate who is safe versus who is unsafe. And also, saying no requires skill, because we have to understand that there are times that to avoid being exploited by our significant others or to protect ourselves emotionally, it is a crucial issue to be able to say no. When we say no, we avoid others violating our boundaries, because we avoid things that hurt us emotionally, or we avoid things that create unnecessary stress for us. Example, if somebody asks you, hey, can you stop by after work and pick this up for me? And in reality, we can't. We're tight for time. We have something to do after, but it's our desire to please the person and we don't really want to say no, and so we say yes, we end up putting ourselves in situations where we end up feeling like we were rushed. We end up maybe even forgetting to stop by, and then then we are the bad guys. It creates issues for us because we say we're gonna do it, but we don't follow through because we spread ourselves too thin. Healthy boundaries are emphasized especially in interpersonal relationships, but they are especially important to have intrapersonal boundaries, which means with yourself. For example, how do you talk yourself out of a situation that is toxic for you if you have no personal boundaries? How do you talk yourself out from binge eating when you have difficulty saying no to others and to yourselves? How do you avoid being overworking when we don't set limits even with ourselves? And so these internal practices of learning to say no to others and to ourselves are extremely useful because they help us to avoid behaviors that are unhealthy for us physically and emotionally. And this is just the example of a person who doesn't know, who had a difficult time saying no. We will definitely discuss the other side of the spectrum with individuals that have a difficult time saying yes. I have a quote for you, and I will explain what how this relates to interpersonal boundaries. The quote says, if I can find it here on my screen, the quote says, listen to your heart, or it whispers slowly. And this is by a 20th century American writer. Another version is, let your heart guide you, it whispers, so listen closely. What does that mean to you? A lot of individuals feel that if they follow their heart, they're going to be heartbroken. But in reality, I don't know if it's happened to you when you've been in an unhealthy relationship and something just feels off. We also call it like your gut feeling. We just have an off feeling about that person, or we have an off feeling of things that are going on in a relationship, but somehow we tend to drown them out because, number one, we don't want to let go of the relationship, or number two, we're afraid that if we start exploring our relationship, we're going to start seeing the reality of it. And the truth is, a lot of us protect ourselves from seeing reality because it means that we have to make changes. So this quote by the 20th century American writer says, let your heart guide you, it whispers, listen closely. We have to listen closely to our gut feelings or our gut instinct regarding relationships. Have you ever been with somebody you know they're not good for you? Maybe other people have told you that they're not good for you, but somehow even our body reacts to it. Even we feel inside, like our stomach, maybe we get like our chest starts to get a little tight. We feel that something is unhealthy, but we don't pay attention to our cues about the relationship or about our behavior. And so this is where this writer is coming from. Your gut, our body, tells us something about the way that we are behaving, about the situations that we put ourselves in, but we don't listen. And so this writer is motivating us. Listen to your gut. Listen to your cues. Listen to your body. It's telling you something. Maybe it's telling you, hey, no, don't go down that route. That relationship isn't for you, or, hey, it's time to set some limits here. Very important. Sometimes we don't need somebody to tell us. We are already perceiving it. Don't drown that voice. Listen to it. It's trying to tell you something. Our bodies, our minds our perception is trying to tell us something. What are healthy boundaries in relationships? Healthy boundaries in relationships are flexible, which means you are able to be close and you are able to be distant depending on the situation. And when boundaries are flexible, you are able to let go of relationships that are destructive, and you are able to connect with relationships that are nurturing. Ever found yourself in that situation where women or even men say, all men are the same, all women are the same? It just seems like no matter what relationship that you are in, you find yourself with the same kind of person. Well, it might not be that all men are the same, all women are the same. It might be that because we aren't able to adapt to closeness and we always connect relationships too close, too controlling, too dependent on each other. But a key characteristic of a healthy boundary is they are flexible. You can be close, you can be distant, depending on the situation, and there's no backlash because of it. Healthy boundaries are safe. Remember, we were talking about the ability of saying no? When you have safe boundaries, you protect yourself by being exploited, from being exploited by others. You are able to read cues that someone is abusive or selfish. How many of us get into a relationship, all those feel-good endorphins in our brain, oh, they're perfect, they can do no wrong, and we ignore signs that the person has given us along the way, that they are selfish, that they are controlling, that they are abusive. Therefore, healthy boundaries keep us safe. We are able to read those cues before we are too invested in the relationship. Healthy boundaries are connected. You are able to engage in a balanced relationship with others and maintain them over time. When conflicts arise because you have healthy boundaries and you are connected, you are able to work them out. Easily said, difficulty done, but I assure you that healthy boundaries avoid us a world of hurt. They avoid us. When you have healthy boundaries, I've always said this, it weeds out the toxic people in our lives, because toxic people do not like when you set a boundary. They try to overstep your boundaries. They try to challenge your boundaries. They don't like it. And setting boundaries right away is a way of being able to distinguish a healthy relationship from an unhealthy one. When do boundaries become an issue? Boundaries become an issue when we start getting into extremes. Either you are extremely close, and another term for that is being enmeshed, or you are too distant. So I have a few questions for you. This is if your boundaries are extremely enmeshed, you let people in too much, then if you answer some of these questions, that it might apply to you. Do you have difficulty saying no in relationships? Do you give too much? Do you get involved too quickly? Do you trust too easily? Do you intrude on others? And do you stay in relationships too long? In other words, the relationship should have ended a while ago because it wasn't healthy, but you continue to engage in it. Well, if you answered yes to any of those, then you might be a person with enmeshed boundaries. You get too close to people. On the other hand, boundaries can be too distant, which means we don't let people in enough. We are detached. What are the characteristics of a person that is detached? If you answer yes to some of these questions, this might be you. You have difficulty saying yes in relationships. Do you isolate? Do you distrust too easily? Do you feel lonely? Do you stay in relationships too briefly? what I want you to know is that individuals might have difficulty in both areas. Why do individuals give too much? Well, if you stay tuned, I'm going to tell you after the break why there are individuals who give too much in a relationship, and most of us perceive it as good, but it ends up backfiring us. Stay with us. We're going to answer this question after the break.
Yeah, legendary.
Taylor about the fucking flag.
Stay focused, I'm counting these blessings. Damn, I cannot help it. I'm dripping finesse. Gotta stay focused, I'm counting these blessings. Damn, I cannot help it. I'm dripping finesse. You feeling my vibe? Yeah, I cannot help that I'm fly. Nah, you catch the way that I ride. Yeah, I cannot tell you no lies. My spiritual cleansing inside, I live on a natural high. I never will swallow my pride. I think it's because what I've been through. They told me these things that I can't do, but you see me coming. God open doors like it's nothing. My fist turn to drinks, now I'm popping. My music is bumping, I'm jumping. I feel like nothing can stop me. I know how it feels, barely getting by. This is my reason why. Stay focused, I'm counting these blessings. Damn, I cannot help it. I'm dripping finesse. Gotta stay focused, I'm counting these blessings. Damn, I cannot help it. I'm dripping finesse. I got dreams so big, might touch the sky with all this flight. I got dreams too big, dangerous since a kid. I win. Yeah, you know they hate how I do it. I pull up, I flip it, I kill it. Put my trust not in many men. No one was here when it all began. Gotta go get it, my life it is. So go tell the church that I'm moving in. I'm coming up chasing dividends. My dynasty, you see me building it, right? I'm taking flight, building my confidence, doing shit right. Stomach was hurting like too many nights. I tell you my demons, they like to fight. Knocking them out like a light. I am a lion, a beast when I bite. Yeah, I'm taking off. I just be scoring, I think I'm the boss. I think I'm the one, I'll never be done. Focused, I'm counting these blessings. Damn, I cannot help it. I'm dripping finesse. Gotta stay focused, I'm counting these blessings. Damn, I cannot help it. I'm dripping finesse.
Welcome back to the show. This is Evelyn But Not, and you are listening to Entre Mujeres, Between Women. Individuals who have boundary problems and sometimes make statements like, if I give people my all, if I give my significant other my all, why do they not love me? Why do they end up paying me back with something negative when I give something good? Well, boundary problems are a misdirected attempt to be loved. That is, by giving your all to people, you are actually just trying to win them over. So instead of teaching them how to interact with you appropriately, you teach your significant other to exploit you. By isolating, that's when an individual has extremely close boundaries. By isolating from others, when an individual has extremely distant boundaries, you're doing so to protect yourself, but then in the end you end up alone and no support. Why is it important to set healthy boundaries? Extremely, extremely important. Healthy boundaries are important because they keep you safe. One practical example, learning to say no can keep you from contracting AIDS, because in the moment, even though you're trying to be in with this guy or this gal, saying no to unsafe sex can actually keep you from a venereal disease. Saying no in relationships prevents people from taking advantage of you, because you say no to unfair demands. You protect yourself from abusive relationships and even domestic violence when you say no. On the other hand, when you learn how to say yes, for those of us who don't know how to say yes, you allow yourself to rely on others. You let yourself be known to each other. You put yourself out there. It helps you to feel supported, and it can also get you through tough times. Another important aspect of setting healthy boundaries in relationships is that it prevents extremes. By setting boundaries, you avoid painful extremes, meaning you get too close to a person that was not good for you, or you get too distant. They protect it from extremes they avoid you from giving too much, but also they help you not to give too little if you are a distant person. It's the difference between idealizing and devaluing others. This concept is something so subtle that I've noticed that as I learned about it, I started noticing it. Have you ever had that experience where there are individuals who get in a relationship and they absolutely idealize the person, like this person can do absolutely no wrong, and the person is like the world to them. They are the greatest. They have no flaw. Well, sometimes those of us who have very close boundaries, this is how we see the person, which is unreasonable because nobody is perfect. We all have our issues. They don't see you. You don't see them for the person they are. You see them for how you idealize them in your head. Whereas the person that is too distant from others, they devalue others. They start, like we start to pick on their flaws to make ourselves feel better, maybe to say, oh no, I'm not close to them, because we start looking at their flaws as an excuse to be distant. Now, neither extreme is healthy. Balance is crucial. We should see individuals for who they are, good and bad. Not only do we have difficult times setting boundaries with others, we also violate other people's boundaries as well. But most importantly, we need to have boundaries with ourselves. We need to start saying no to ourselves. If you promised yourself you're not going to smoke, then don't. If you promised yourself not to overindulge in food, in shopping, in whatever behavior, then say no to yourself. If you promised yourself that you are not going to go back to that toxic relationship, then don't. Say no to yourself. On the other hand, you also may have difficulty saying yes to yourself. Maybe you deprived yourself too much by not eating enough, by working too hard, by not taking time for yourself, and by not allowing yourself to have pleasure. Then in those cases, just like you need to say yes to other people, learn to say yes to yourself. Case in point, individuals who have difficulty setting boundaries with themselves have difficulty setting boundaries with others. How our boundary issues become apparent in relationships because we intrude into other people's business too much. We try to control others, or we try to become like verbally, emotionally, or physically abusive. What happens when we don't know? Why is it important to say no? Saying no is important because it means you are setting a limit to protect yourself in a relationship. For example, if an individual, like say your significant other, is yelling at you and it's difficult for you to be assertive, it's important to protect yourself and say, you know what, unless you stop yelling at me, I'm going to walk out. saying no is an important skill for setting boundaries. At a deeper level, setting boundaries is a way of conveying that both people in a relationship deserve care, deserve attention, and also deserve respect. And we all deserve separate identities. I've seen that some of that is so difficult for us. But let's get into some music here for a little bit. So don't go anywhere. We are going to be right back, and we are going to practice how to say no and how to say yes in relationships. We are talking about setting healthy boundaries in relationships, and we'll be right back.
Baby, I lied. Oh yeah, we've been down this road before. Let me show you something more. This time I promise I'ma change your life. Baby, hold on to me. Don't you let go. I've done some crazy things that I want you to know. We about to jump off a building. Nothing to break up on. Baby, hold on to me. Don't you let go. Oh, I always give you reasons to leave. Let me be the reason that you stay. My pillow's where you lay. If you take a chance on love, then take that chance with me. Promise I won't make the same mistake I made before. Ain't no parachute, we're falling hard. So please, baby, don't you let go. I've done some crazy things that I want you to know. We about to jump off a building. Nothing to break up on. Baby, hold on to me. Don't you let go. Oh, every time I made an excuse to leave you, girl, I'm sorry. Turn around and come in late, claiming I was hanging with the boys. Always thinking, thinking I had from you. But what I didn't know is I should've ran to you. So this time I'm diving head first. So hold on, don't you let go. I've done some crazy. You know I did. Want you to know that we about to jump off a building. I know you're scared. Don't be. Trust me, baby. Hold on. Don't you let go. Don't you let me go. Cause I'd be lost without you. Lost without you.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Evelyn But Not, and you are listening to Entre Mujeres. We are talking about boundary issues in relationships. We have Sophia on the line, and Sophia wants to share some of her experience with having difficulty setting boundaries in a relationship. Sophia, thank you for joining us, and thank you for calling in.
Hi.
Thank you for listening to our show. I know that you have been messaging us some of your suggestions and comments, and we really appreciate that. Do you ever feel like you have a difficult time setting boundaries in a relationship?
Yeah, for sure. I think I just got out of a relationship not too long ago. And I had been in a relationship for a long time, and I did find myself um, stuck a majority of the time, and I didn't know why I felt stuck. And, I kind of started talking to people, and I heard the conversation today, and I realized I had problems setting boundaries with this person.
Tell me, what was difficult for you? Give me an example of a boundary in specific that was difficult for you to establish in a relationship.
Aside from there was more than one, but one specific boundary that I think I had an issue setting was just telling this person no, really not allowing myself to be myself, I suppose. I had a problem with just saying no, I don't want to go do this, or, just really being myself in the relationship, I guess.
So it was difficult for you to say, I don't like to do this, or this is what I would rather do instead. What were you afraid of? In your mind, you thought, if I say no, what's going to happen?
Yeah, I did have a problem with that. And I think
what did you think was going to happen if you said no?
What I thought was, if I say no, this person's not going to any longer want me, or think that I'm not interesting, or, just that in general, not want me.
The funny thing is that even though we're scared to say no because we feel like they're not going to love us anymore, or they're not going to stay with us anymore, the irony of everything is when we don't say no in a relationship, then we end up feeling like you said, I'm not feeling like myself, or like I'm not fulfilled in this relationship. How did that work out for you, Sophia, not being able to say no, as a result not feeling like yourself? How did it work out in the relationship?
It didn't really work out in the relationship, not setting those boundaries, because I found myself feeling very insecure a lot of the time, and feeling like I wasn't enough, and like I was always doing something wrong and just didn't know how to fix it. I felt lost.
So if you could go back and set a healthy boundary and do something different, what do you think it would be? One thing.
One thing was just setting a boundary and telling the person, like, I am my own person, you are yours, and there's two people in the relationship, and just learning how to say no, or say this is what I want to do, or compromise, or just communicate with this person better.
Definitely. Well, Sophia, thank you for calling us, and I do appreciate you tuning into the show faithfully every week. So there you have it, folks. There you have the effects that not having boundaries in a relationship can have. Especially, I suppose that sometimes it might be difficult, a lot more difficult for us women to set a boundary, because we naturally want to be caretakers. Women tend to be a little more nurturing, and we tend to want to be caretakers. And it can also be I think culture plays a role. I know you've heard me talk about, obviously, my background is I'm Mexican American, and so I use a lot of examples from my culture, which honestly, and I think the boundaries in my culture are enmeshed. We get too close to individuals, and women, or at least where I'm from, women are socialized to caretake and sometimes to be submissive. And part of the cultural values that I've been taught, I'll tell you, I am proud to have those values. I feel like they make us strong, they make us resilient. But I also notice that sometimes the values that they instill in us as a culture sometimes sets us up to end up in a relationship where we are not fulfilled, or to end up in a relationship where our needs aren't met because we feel like we have no right to state our preferences, to state what it is exactly that we want. That's boundaries are so important. having a discussion of having that confidence of saying, this is what I want, or having the confidence and being assertive enough to be able to say no. One issue that tends to come up, and we were talking about it earlier, is individuals who give too much, and the how contradicting it is, because we expect that when we give too much in a relationship, we are going to get the same back. The reality is that when we give too much, first of all, sometimes, or a lot of the times, individuals get used to the privilege of a person that gives too much. And so we end up being taken advantage of because there's no sense of appreciation. They come to expect it because it's what we do best. We always do it, and then when we don't do it, then the individuals are upset when it was something that we did out of the goodness of our heart to begin with. The confidence aspect of setting boundaries is very important. In my opinion, one of the things that prevents us from asserting ourselves in relationships is self-esteem. And not only self-esteem, but how we feel about ourselves. So I just want to give you a few suggestions for improving boundary setting, because we are getting to the end of our show. Number one, and I feel like if we start practicing this in our relationships, it's going to get uncomfortable, but I feel like we're going to set the groundwork for a healthy relationship, and we're also going to set up the expectation for how individuals treat us. So setting boundaries teaches others how to treat you. Number one, remind yourself that no matter what, you deserve respect. And understanding that we deserve respect takes us to, we have to set that expectation in our relationships. From the get-go, let's be mindful of how an individual treats us. If an individual is being selfish, and immediately addressing those concerns when they start. Number two, if you feel like you are an individual who definitely has too much closeness in a relationship or too much distance in a relationship, a good start is always, this is what I am doing, and it's not working out for me. What is one thing that I am going to do to start getting into that middle? Not be so extreme, like not be so close and not be so distant when I get resentful because they've taken advantage of me. How do I establish a middle in a relationship? And one way to establish a middle might be start saying no when it's necessary, but also know how to say yes when it is necessary. We can go on and on about suggestions. I appreciate you tuning into the show. I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, WEXP and the Eon Experience, as well as the radio show for having us every week. I want to invite you. We are here every Thursday at 5 p.m. to discuss issues relating to women and emotional health. You can also find me and hit me up on Facebook. My name is Evelyn But Not, life coach, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I want to invite you to not only visit my self-help pages, but also shop my collection. I have a fabulous repertoire of leather purses for women. I appreciate you tuning into the show. I will see you next week. You were listening to Evelyn But Not, and this is your show, Entre Mujeres, or Between Women.
Yeah, Charlie,
crazy. They was like,
Charlie, yeah, flip,
you don't sell drugs.
flip,
I was like, of course,
flip,
of course I do.
chill, yeah, make it, flip, let it rip. Y'all boys counterfeit, I'm so super sick. Hey, what's up? Tell me how you been. I've been in the trap, I've been making hits. Make it flip, make it flip, make it flip, let it rip. Y'all boys counterfeit, I'm so super sick. I've been in the trap, I've been making hits, yo. I just want the pesos, I just need a payload. In the trap like Jesus, like my name was Pedro. I got cocaine, I ain't talking white stuff. talking about drugs. Call me plug. What you want? Follow me, cause got it for the low. I can get you high. You ain't gotta smoke. Yeah, you